Good afternoon, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. This is Rich again, back for your second video blog of the day for Friday, December 11th, 2015, around 5:45 in the afternoon in Billerica, Massachusetts. It was a nice day, mixing sun and clouds, highs in the 50s. Above average temperatures going to continue on this weekend. Some news to report. The Chicago Cubs signed outfielder Jason Heyward to an 8-year contract with $184 million. The Cubs are making big moves. That's good for them. Sad news to report in the world of basketball. Former NBA player John Hot Rod Williams passed away at the age of 53, so prayers to his family. And 76ers head coach Brett Brown got a contract extension, even though this team sucks big time. And this is into his third year as coach of the 76ers. They haven't had a winning season at him at the helm, and they only won 38 games since he's took over as coach. Why get a contract extension if you're losing all the time? Maybe nobody wants to coach the 76ers. And that's about it on news. My second video blog subject of the day is about the former WCW faction, the Dungeon of Doom. The Dungeon of Doom lasted from the spring of 1995 through the summer of 1997. It was headed by the Taskmaster, Kevin Sullivan, and mainly the Dungeon of Doom was a lot of like mid-card wrestlers with goofy gimmicks, but the main guy in the Dungeon of Doom was the Giant, also known as the Big Show. The Dungeon of Doom's main objective was to destroy Hulkamania. The Dungeon of Doom, this is how the Dungeon of Doom started. In Lambeau, 1995, after Kevin Sullivan beat the man with no name, also known as Brutus the Barber Beefcake, also known as Ed Leslie, Kevin Sullivan heard a voice, and it was the Master, which Kevin Sullivan called his father. And like the Master was saying stuff, and then Kevin Sullivan ran away, and several weeks later they had a lot of promos, Kevin Sullivan running a couple of times. But like then by summer of 1995, the Master and Kevin Sullivan said they were going to destroy Hulkamania. The Master was played by King Curtis Iaukea, who was known as a former WWF Tag Team Champion. He also was known as the Wizard in the WWE, and he also managed Kevin Sullivan in Championship Wrestling from Florida when Kevin Sullivan was part of the dark side and stuff. And like at first, like the Dungeon of Doom recruited Vader to join their stable to beat Hulk Hogan, but Vader couldn't beat Hulk Hogan, and then they recruited the Zodiac, who was Brutus the Barber Beefcake, who had a yin and yang, and he had face paint, crazy, and then they had the Shock, also known as John Tenta, Earthquake, Avalanche, Shock Attack. But the crown jewel of the Dungeon of Doom was the Giant. The Giant was stalking Hulk Hogan, and he was billed as Andre the Giant's son in WCW, but he was not really Andre the Giant's son at all. And then they started to add Kamala, the Ugandan Giant, and then Maine and stuff. And the Dungeon of Doom faced off against Hulk Hogan's team at Fall Brawl 1995, which included Hulk Hogan, Sting, Lex Luger, and Randy Macho Man Savage. Ooh yeah, dig it! With a special stipulation: if Hulk Hogan team won, he would get 5 minutes with Kevin Sullivan. The Dungeon of Doom had like Maine, Zodiac, Shock, and Kamala. It was probably the worst War Games match ever. You know who was going to win? Hulk Hogan's team. Hulk Hogan submitted, put like the Zodiac submitted, and then Hogan got 5 minutes with Kevin Sullivan, but the Giant attacked him. And then the Giant, continues to stalk Hulk Hogan, attacking him again. Eventually, Hulk Hogan was black. This was a test run to see if Hulk Hogan would be a heel. He would eventually become a heel with the NWO. And they had a match at Halloween Havoc 1995 with Hulk Hogan against the Giant. First it was a monster truck match, and then it was the main event for the WCW World title. And then the monster truck match was taped up one night before Halloween Havoc, and Hogan won it. But then the Giant, they were fighting on top of the Cobo Hall. The Hulk Hogan accidentally throws the Giant over the top of the roof, but they think he's dead. But he actually landed on a mat, which was protective. And then later on in the card, Hulk Hogan thinks the match is not going to happen because the Giant, he thinks he's dead, but he pops up, and they have a match. It was a good match, but in the end, Jimmy Hart interfered while Hogan slammed the Giant and tried to pin him. He hit the referee, and then he hit Hogan, and then it was all planned. And then Lex Luger joined the Dungeon of Doom and the Masked Yeti. And then Hogan and the Giant wins by disqualification and takes the WCW belt. It was revealed that Jimmy Hart put in a contract if Hulk Hogan lost to the Giant by disqualification at Halloween Havoc, he would lose the title. But Jimmy Hart caused the interference. And a week later, it was revealed that stipulation was in place, but WCW took that away because of the dubious nature of it. And then the Dungeon of Doom got mad, the Giant got mad, Giant continues to feud with Hulk Hogan and stuff, and the Dungeon of Doom adds more members like Hugh Morris and the One Man Gang, who won the WCW United States Championship, and they also add Loch Ness Monster, who is over 600 pounds and stuff, and there was rumors they were going to add more and more members, and they started to have a mini feud with the Four Horsemen, which constituted Nature Boy Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, Brian Pillman, and Chris Benoit, but that didn't go anywhere at that point. And the Dungeon of Doom's goal was to get rid of Hulkamania, but Hulk Hogan beat up on the Giant and all the members of the Dungeon of Doom. Around February 1996, the Zodiac left the Dungeon of Doom, and he appeared as the Booty Man, and Hulk Hogan said he sent the Booty Man in as a spy as Zodiac to mess with the Dungeon of Doom and stuff. And Dungeon of Doom adds the Barbarian. He teams with Main to form the Faces of Fear. They continue to feud with Hulk Hogan, and they have a match at Uncensored, the Alliance to End the Hulkamania, when they add the Gangster, who was Zeus, and the Ultimate Solution as new members of Dungeon of Doom. They've combined with the Four Horsemen and Lex Luger, who eventually left the Dungeon of Doom. And Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage win that match. And Dungeon of Doom continues to drop some members and stuff like that. But in April of 1996, the Giant beats Ric Flair for the WCW World title. So that's the first major title that the Dungeon of Doom has. Jimmy Hart's managing them. All the members of the Dungeon of Doom. That was probably their crowning achievement. And then eventually Kevin Sullivan gets into a feud with Chris Benoit. And it's a long-running feud. Eventually, the Dungeon of Doom adds Max and Big Bubba Rogers and the Leprechaun and Conan. The Horsemen and the Dungeon of Doom have a long-running feud with each other, which was both heel factions, but they were having the Dungeon of Doom play the de facto baby faces, which is unbelievable. In September of 1996, the Giant leaves the Dungeon of Doom to join the NWO, and that move happened. It probably was the end of the Dungeon of Doom as kind of a serious heel faction, and not really serious because there was a bunch of, mid-card goofy heel wrestlers, but with the Giant being the only serious heel and stuff, and Jimmy Hart managing them, which just was probably on the downside of his career and stuff. And then after like the Giant left the Dungeon of Doom, they just kind of slowly faded down and down. Chris Benoit and Kevin Sullivan continue to have their long-running feud. The Faces of Fear, Mean and the Barbarian were a great tag team and stuff. They got several WCW tag team title shots. And they had other members like Hugh Morris, Conan joined them, and eventually Big Bubba Rogers left the Dungeon of Doom to join the NWO in December of 1996. There were actually rumors that Jimmy Hart was going to be a member of the NWO and leave the Dungeon and rejoin Hulkamania, Hulk Hogan, but that never did happen. And the Dungeon of Doom kind of slowly faded, and in July of 1997, when Chris Benoit beat Kevin Sullivan for the Loser Must Retire match, the Dungeon of Doom was all intents and purposes over, and it was probably even though it was a goofy heel faction, it was kind of an entertaining one. It was like something new and stuff with all these goofy gimmicks and stuff, and Kevin Sullivan, kind of a little bit of his devil worshiper thing, what he did in championship wrestling from Florida, even though Kevin Sullivan was in his mid-40s and stuff. People did not take him to be very seriously as a heel, even though WCW was making him a very serious heel. He was over the hill, but he was probably a name, and also the only thing that made the Dungeon of Doom serious was the Giant as the monster heel and stuff, in my humble opinion. But it was a good little faction, but it wasn't a long-term faction. It was maybe 1 or 2 years at the most, which it lasted, and it had its run. And that's about it on that faction. And that's about it for right now. The third and final video blog tonight will be about former NBA player Spud Webb in my personality profile. And like I always say, keep calm, everybody. And I'm a Julie Button guy, Molly Rosenblatt of Fox 35 in Orlando, Florida, or WCCO Channel 4 in Minneapolis, St. Paul. Roxanne has nice legs. Elizabeth Hart so stunning, and she's the best. Barbara Gibbs of ABC 11 in Raleigh, North Carolina, has a great southern accent, and she rocks, and she has nice legs. And Julie Donaldson of Comcast Sports Mid-Atlantic is awesome. And in the words of Dee Patel last week, no bus. See you later.